In the depths of the unknown, where shadows whisper and fear takes form, welcome to Classic Storytime Hub, the place where classic horror and mystery come alive. Tonight, I bring you a reimagined version of The Book by H.P. Lovecraft, retold with a suspenseful narrative style that grips the soul and breathes new life into this haunting tale. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a journey into the shadows.
My memories, they are a shattered mosaic. I cannot say where they begin. Sometimes I glimpse endless corridors of time stretching behind me, terrifying in their depth. Other times, it feels as though I exist only in this moment, a single flicker in a gray, shapeless void. Even now, I'm unsure how these words reach you. I speak, yes, but I sense that something unnatural, perhaps even dreadful, must carry my voice to wherever you are. My identity? A fog, a blur. I know only that I've endured a shock, something monstrous, born from the twisted cycles of experience that have marked my existence. And all of it, began with that book. I found it in a forgotten place, dimly lit, near a black, oily river where the mists never rest. The building was ancient, its shelves towering to the ceiling, packed with rotting volumes that stretched endlessly into windowless alcoves. Books lay in heaps, scattered like the bones of forgotten knowledge. It was in one of those heaps that I discovered it. The title was lost, its early pages devoured by time, but when it fell open near the end, I saw something that shattered my senses. A formula, a list of words and actions. Dark, forbidden. I had seen whispers of it before, buried in the margins of decaying texts, written by ancient seekers of truths mankind was never meant to know. This was no ordinary spell. It was a key, a guide. A map to gateways and transitions that mystics have only dreamed of, passages beyond the known dimensions of life and matter. No one had spoken of it for centuries. No one knew where to find it. But this book was older than memory, not printed, but inscribed by the trembling hand of a half-mad monk in Latin so ancient it seemed carved from the bones of time itself. I still remember the old man's face, twisted in a leer, his eyes gleaming with something far too knowing. He chuckled softly, made a strange gesture with his hand, and refused to take payment. Only much later did I understand why. I left that place clutching the book, hurrying through the narrow, mist-choked streets along the waterfront. The fog clung to me like a living thing, and with every step I felt it, soft, deliberate footsteps trailing behind me. The houses on either side, ancient and crumbling, seemed to lean closer, watching. Their mildewed bricks and warped timber groaned with a fresh, malignant awareness, as if some hidden channel of evil had just been opened. The windows, diamond-paned and glistening like fish eyes, leered at me. I felt as though the buildings themselves might lurch forward and crush me. And yet, I had read only a single fragment of that cursed text. Just a glimpse. Just enough to awaken something. I remember the night I finally read it in full. My face pale, my hands trembling, locked away in the attic room I had long reserved for strange pursuits. The house was silent. I had waited until after midnight. I think I had a family then, though the details are lost to me now. Servants, yes, I recall their presence, but the year, I cannot say. Since that night, I have wandered through ages and dimensions, and time itself has become a fluid, alien thing. I read by candlelight. I remember the wax dripping steadily, relentlessly. And from far-off belfries, chimes echoed through the night. I listened to them with unnatural focus, as if I feared one of those notes might not belong, as if something else might be listening too.
Then it began. The first scratching, the fumbling at the dormer window high above the city rooftops. It came as I chanted the 9th verse of that ancient primal hymn, and I knew, even as I trembled, what it meant. For he who crosses the gateways always gains a shadow, and from that moment on he is never truly alone. I had summoned it. The book was everything I feared and more. That night I stepped through the gateway into a vortex of warped time and fractured vision. And when morning came, I was still in the attic room, but the world around me had changed. The walls, the shelves, the furniture, they pulsed with forms I had never seen before. From that day forward, I could no longer see the world as I once did. The present was always tinged with echoes of the past and whispers of the future. Familiar objects loomed strange and alien, refracted through the lens of my widened sight. I walked in a waking dream, surrounded by shapes unknown and half-known. And with each gateway I crossed, the more distant became the narrow world I had once called home. What I saw, no one else could see. I grew silent, withdrawn, lest they call me mad. Even dogs feared me. They sensed the shadow, an outsider's presence that clung to me always. But I kept reading. In hidden scrolls and forgotten tones, led by visions only I could perceive. I pressed onward through gateways of space, of being, of life itself, toward the pulsing heart of the unknown cosmos. I remember that night vividly. I had drawn 5 concentric circles of fire on the attic floor, each one pulsing with unnatural light. Standing in the innermost ring, I began to chant, a monstrous litany brought to me by a messenger from the distant wastes of Tartary. As the final syllables left my lips, the walls dissolved. A black wind surged around me, lifting me from the earth and hurling me through gulfs of endless gray. Far below, jagged mountain peaks pierced the void like needles, alien, unreachable. Then came the darkness, pure, absolute, and then stars. Myriad stars forming constellations no human eye had ever seen. At last I beheld a green-lit plain beneath me, and on that plain a city. Twisted towers rose in impossible shapes, built in no style known to man or dream. As I drifted closer, I saw a massive stone structure in the heart of the city, and with it came a fear, raw, primal, suffocating. I screamed, I struggled, and then nothing. When I awoke, I was sprawled across the glowing circles on the attic floor. That night's journey was no stranger than others I had taken, but the terror was deeper. because I knew I had come closer than ever before to those outer gulfs, to those worlds beyond worlds. After that, I became cautious. My incantations were measured, restrained, for I had no desire to be severed from my body, or cast adrift in some abyss from which no soul returns.
And thus the story ended. If you liked this journey into the worlds of classic literature, do not forget to support us by subscribing so we can tell you more. And hey, if there's a classic tale you'd love to hear told in this suspenseful style, drop its name in the comments below. Your suggestion might be our next chilling adventure.